What do you need to know about Resto Druids in 5.2? 2 words. Mushroom, mushroom. Hey everyone, this is Caisha with tgnWorldOfWarcraft, and today I'm going to be bringing you a little bit of an overview of the Resto Druid changes that are happening in 5.2. Now I went on the PTR the other day, and I was just kind of playing around with different things, but right now I want to go over some changes that I listed in the patch notes. First off, there are 4 major changes to the current talent tree, including Cenarian Ward, Tree Ants, Soul of the Forest, and Nature's Vigil. The patch note reads that Cenarian Ward now grants 100% increased healing. The Tree Ant summoned by Force of Nature will now deal more damage and healing, and the Force of Nature tooltip will report the capabilities of these summoned pets. Thank God. It's so frustrating to actually look at the tooltip and not know how much healing is it going to do. I think a lot of people, you know, it was just so weird to have that kind of ability and then not know, you know, right off the bat how much it was going to heal for. And so I think a lot of people avoided that talent in general, you know, just for that reason alone. So thank goodness that it's actually being fixed now. Soul of the Forest. They reworked Soul of the Forest. I'm really only looking at the restoration changes, which it now grants 70% haste on the next spell cast after the druid casts Swiftmin. This is up from 50%, which it is on live server. And they also changed Nature's Vigil, which now has a 90-second cooldown, down from 3 minutes, so it's half the cooldown length, and it increases damage and healing done by 10% down from 20. So they really only halved it, so you can use it more often, but it's the same amount of healing throughout. All right. Overall, I feel for the most part that these changes were meant to normalize the talents so that Resto Druids are less cookie cutter, especially in raiding, where Tree Form and Nature's Swiftness trump Nature's Vigil and Cenarian Ward in almost every circumstances. I generally used Heart of the Wild instead of Nature's Vigil, but there were some instances where we would use Nature's Vigil, and I feel that now it'll be more often, or at least up to the Druid more than just Theorycrafting. As for Cenarian Ward, I do feel pretty strongly that that will be taken over Nature's Swiftness most of the time, at least by me. The reasoning for this is pretty simple. Nature's Swiftness plus Healing Touch, which is usually what I use it for, is an instant burst of about 135,000 healing, according to my calculations, using Caisha on the PTR, every minute. Whereas Cenarian is roughly 160k when taking into account the fact that it is also twice a minute instead of 1 minute. Of course, with the ward there is a greater chance for overhealing due to the fact that it is a hot, but the same can be said with Nature's Swiftness. All in all, if you want to take the time to work Cenarian Ward into your tank healing rotation, I feel that it would be better in the long run over Nature's Swiftness. But the abilities are so close together in Theorycrafting that it does give druids more variety per fight, per playstyle. Yay, Blizzard! The second tier that got a rework was the Tree Form / Soul of the Forest / Tree Ants one. In my opinion, though Tree Ants did get a bit of an overhaul, based on my calculations, they still probably won't be worth grabbing in PvE or raid content, especially when you have Tree Form and Soul of the Forest to choose from. Tree Form does remain unchanged, but Soul of the Forest was granted a buff, again, from 50% haste to 70%. Now, this will still be fight specific, but I do feel that druids will be taking Soul over Tree for single target damage fights. Tree Form is amazing, there's no denying that, but at the end of the day it does serve as more of a raid damage steroid than a single target one, and not all fights need that steroid over your normal hot abilities, right? They did also adjust Nature's Vigil so that it has that lower cooldown but lower healing bonus. They just split down the middle so that's not 90-second cooldown, and it only gives 10% of the bonus, again half of what it was, meaning that you can use it more frequently. The reason this is important is that I can see a lot of possibilities with these changes, especially in coordination with that Soul of the Forest buff, right? So basically if you take Soul of the Forest and you take Nature's Vigil, you know, that'd be kind of an interesting combination. And I'm going to definitely Theorycraft that a little bit, you know, test it out in raid format. So let's go ahead and move away from the talent trees. Druids also got several huge buffs aside from talents. First off, we got a buff to our bread and butter spell Rejuvenation. It now costs 9% less mana. Woo! Very exciting. We also receive a new passive for Restoration called Naturalist, which is a blanket 10% increase in healing. Like if you take Restoration as your specialization, you automatically increase your healing 10%, which is pretty amazing, and you don't see that a whole lot with with talents and with Blizzard. So they must have felt that really that Druids needed that buff in general. So that's exciting. Revive and Mark of the Wild now costs 55% less mana, which is more of a convenience factor for those who raid, but for those who PvP, I'm sure they will enjoy that change. The final and perhaps most exciting change to Druid healing is that of the Wild Mushroom spells. The Wild Mushroom planting and then the bloom. Essentially, you can still only place 3 mushrooms at a time, but they last for 5 minutes. But, yay, but they absorb overhealing from your rejuvenations. The changes are as follows. Wild mushrooms will now gain 75% of the overhealing performed by the Druid's rejuvenation effects, up to a maximum of 100% of that Druid's health and bonus healing, and growing larger as they do so. When Wild Mushroom Bloom is cast, this bonus healing will be divided evenly amongst targets in the area of effect. I personally salivate at the thought of using this in regular raid damage fights, especially in the melee. The best part is they grow as they absorb more healing, and as you can tell, they'll be pretty great to see in a raid, and I'm sure the melee will absolutely love not being able to see anything, especially if they're goblins. If they can cover me as a Tauren Druid at max absorption, then I'm excited just to see the difference between the two. So there's the rundown on the latest changes up to Resto Druids. All in all, Blizzard has really done a lot to give us some love in this patch, in both healing and giving us more choice when it comes to raiding specs. And personally, I can't wait to test it out once it goes live. Once again, this is Caisha of TGN. If you enjoyed this video, please be sure to subscribe to TGN World of Warcraft and give us a thumbs up. Until I see you again, don't forget to have fun and smile.